My wife is rolling her eyes. I didn't have to see it. You always have to say something like that. Yeah, soccer's a dumb sport. It's okay. Americans do not bounce balls off their heads. They're a statement. Okay. Thank you for having me here. My name is Don Williams. I've been your mayor for the last 2 years. I'm a local business owner, member of the Chamber of Commerce. My wife Debbie and I have been here full-time 10 years, 11 years? About that. We initially bought a house to vacation at, and we just said this is where we want to be. And so, like so many people who live here now full-time, that was our story, is their story. We fell in love with the city. I've been in love with Lincoln City since I was a kid. We would visit the Esterly for our summer vacations. I continued that tradition on as a teenager. Whenever a bunch of us could scrape together the money and the beer, we would go to the Esterly and have a great weekend. Those days are long gone. I like it fair. This is why I don't like Debbie at these things, because I'm constantly getting these, don't do that. So I guess the first thing I have to ask, and I'll pose it to Heather, what's the over-under on when I start crying? Do we have a... This year I was not a part of that. Oh, okay. But I was going to bring some tissues. So yeah, so I'm not figuring it's a 4-minute mark.
I didn't know if it was going to be the eclipse discussion or what.
Yeah. Okay. One little weird note. I remember having this conversation with Dick Anderson when he was mayor, and the election season brought this up to mind. Is I keep hearing my fellow Americans, my fellow Americans, my fellow Americans, and I thought, well, how do I address the people of Lincoln City? Is it my Lincoln City-ers? My Lincoln City-ites? And I got thinking about it and kind of threw it out at Dick, and he didn't see the humor in it, but I said, so I'll start with my fellow Lincoln Cityites. Some days it works. Some days it works. Okay. I've had several people talk to me and say, okay, Don, is this going to be the one where you rip into people and you tear it up? And I said, I think those days are gone. We've had a bit of a troubled past. And I got to thinking, here's where I'll start tearing out, is in 85, I lost my father, but I also gained a son, same month or so. I'm finding myself in that same situation again. I'm losing my mother, thank you. But we're gaining another child. My son Aaron and his wife Becky are expecting their first baby in October. It put me in mind to say, no, I'm just done. It's time. The past is past. Whatever was, and we're moving forward. And with nothing but open hearts and goodwill. So, to anyone who wants to hear me stomp and moan and complain, they're going to happen. So, I'm here to say Lincoln City is in great shape. You have so much to be proud of. You have so much to look forward to in this city. We have, for those of you who don't know Ron Chandler, a great city manager who has really, I think, changed the culture within our city government. I can't speak with authority about David Hawker. I did not work with him. I know that he championed many capital improvements that we're enjoying now and will into the future. His style was his style, Ron's. But I can certainly appreciate the patience and the courtesy and the genuine caring that he brings to the city. You can be very proud of the man who actually runs the city. Ain't me. You have Ed Dryscott, who is not here. He's at some event somewhere doing something. But he has retooled the Visitor Convention Bureau in a way that far exceeded my expectations. It was I'll say a troubled bureau. In my mind, lacked some direction and focus. Ed has really brought just a level of professionalism, and you're going to see some end results from that. I'm going to say, before I forget, Ron is going to give a presentation about our new commercial for those of you who haven't seen it. My wife whispered in my ear a little bit ago, and Ron, you'd be interested in this. My wife, Debbie, is a realtor. She was saying she's working with a client from New York. Debbie sent her the video. It was between Coos Bay and Lincoln City. She chose Lincoln City. Yeah. So, you got that. We have new council members. We said goodbye to Chester Marekis, Wes Ryan, and Roger Sprague. We thank them so much for their service. Round of applause. We welcome Jim Casper, Riley Hoagland, and I'm only going to say this once, Deanna Hinton. They bring an amazing perspective to the council, and it's so great to hear all the questions that come up from them. And so you've got a good, solid council with some good people, and I think you can be very proud of the direction we're heading. I'm just going to, in no particular order, going to run through some of the things the city's been up to and apprise you of them. So if it doesn't make sense to you, I can't help you. The Citizens Police Academy. I don't know if any of you know about this, but our police department has begun a committee or a program for teaching citizens about what the police do, kind of a behind-the-scenes program. I know Councilor Walkie participated in that, Dave Price participated in some others, and you might want to talk to them about their experience afterwards. But it's going to be continued, and sometime in 2017 we'll be hearing more about another date. And I would say take advantage of these opportunities. One thing I've learned, and I've said this before, since becoming mayor, I've had my impressed and ashamed moments. And the impressed side is I'm so impressed by the people I've met working in the city, from sanitation to water treatment behind the counters at City Hall. And the other side is I'm so ashamed I didn't know that I didn't know all of the great work they did. The police department is one of those. Getting to know Chief Killing and getting a tour of the facility and what they do and what they have to put up with on a day-to-day basis. I don't know how they don't just shoot us all. It's amazing. The restraint, the professionalism, the courtesy in some really awful circumstances. Men will deal with some awful people sometimes. But they extend that to us to say, come see what we do, so that you can have those impressed moments and say, I am fully confident that we have the right people behind those badges. Next, it's like one letter per page. Driftwood Library. We added a program I'm thrilled with, and our library has a lot to be excited about, but all I'm going to touch on today is Library to Go. I don't know if any of you know about that. Library to Go is our new e-book addition to the library. So that when you've been waiting and waiting and waiting for that new book to come out that you can't get a copy of because there's 20 people ahead of you, you can now check it out as an e-version for either a Kindle or tablet or other device. So it's a get in touch with the library and find out. Ron, is that something they can do once they're in the program? Can they do that from home?
Yes, you can do it from anywhere you're hooked up to the internet.
So you have no excuse not to visit your library. Community Center. I don't have much left to say because all I was going to talk about was the Jumbotron.
Hi, Matt. Covered it.
Okay, awesome.
Good job, Laura.
This was one of those projects that was initiated by Kip Ward brought this up in, I think it was our 2016 budget series. It talks about expanding and improving the community center. What can we do? And we started talking about the water works and like that. We kind of determined we don't really have the land to expand much of the facility, but we can enhance what we do have. So Ron got together with Gail and others and talked about what can we put in there that would enhance the experience. So we had a bunch of different ideas, rope swings and log rolls and things like that. But the Jumbotron was the one that kind of came to the surface as being the most beneficial. One, it's fun. If you haven't been into the swimming pool, go to the swimming pool, just check it out. You can just go upstairs to the visitor gallery. You don't have to get wet. But they're showing programs, movies and the like. We're going to be having a Finding Dory. I don't have kids at home anymore. I'm just learning from the grandchildren. All I know is Frozen and what's the other one? Doc McStuffins. That's all I know. It's been a great investment, and for my part, when we were having discussions on the council, I was really excited about it because of the swim events and what it can mean to Lincoln City to have that as another vehicle to attract events. So when the thing that we always have to remember, and most of us are business people here, everyone has a choice of where they go. They do not have to come to your business. They do not have to come to our town. But every time we can tip that scale just a little further, we win. And this is a winner for us. So you're just seeing the surface of what that Jumbotron will mean to us. As we install the camera system and get that working, it'll be a much more interactive device. And I think you'll really appreciate it. So go down and see it. This is the Senior Community Center. If you haven't been there in a while, it's terrific. Jill has done a great job running that facility. Clean, friendly, safe, and you can be very proud of that. Okay, what is the City Council doing? I have no idea. No. We've actually been very busy. This council, last year and going into this year, has really been more of a foundation-laying council, I think. We've been talking about economic opportunities analysis, housing needs assessment, building lands inventory. And what that will mean to our city is we'll have that groundwork, we'll have that baseline for saying, here's where our growth should go. Here's what we need. Here's who we will approach with the lands we have available. Without that information, someone calls, hey, I'd like to start a business here, what do you got? I don't know, come on down and look, we'll show you around. With this, we'll be able to say, yes, we have these properties available. We have this land. We have all these opportunities for you in one place to talk about. Parks and Recreation Master Plan. We're going to be finishing that up. This is another one of those great citizen-driven plans. And I get back to Ron, because he's not the city manager, I've known. So making this so accessible to people. So we've had meeting after meeting saying, tell us what you want your parks to look like. And people would come out in droves and say, here's what we want. And that is great, because you don't want us making the decision for you. I'm only one guy going to a park. You all go to the park, you all have your different needs and desires. Do you want to walk? Do you want to do kids? Do you want to bike? Do you want to throw a frisbee around? What do you want to do with your parks? And so there's still time to give input, but we're buttoning that one up. The Villages of Cascade Head Preliminary Master Plan. This is that big piece of property at the north end. Whether you agree or disagree with the city owning that land, the city owns that land. And from now on, we have to make decisions about what we're going to do with it and how it will be developed. Whether we end up saying, okay, we got a good deal and now we're going to sell it all off and we're going to make a bundle and put that in a general fund and maybe build some low-income housing or a shelter, or if we piecemeal it. Whatever seems to make economic sense, I think you can trust that we'll do the right thing. But this is one you're going to want to be involved in, because, Ron, how many lots are we talking about? 1,800?
The original plan was 1,800.
1,800 lots. Now, imagine the impact that will have just on transportation, on infrastructure, sewage. So you want to be a part of that conversation. You want to say, okay, I live at that end. Now you're going to throw another 2,000 people in there on a Sunday afternoon. No. Or, yeah, that sounds good, but we need another road. These are the things you want to be a part of. So keep your eyes out. We have a great website. If you don't know, the LincolnCity.org or org. You're not supposed to say org if you follow the original. He will just pull the list. I want to make sure I do. Anyway, a great website, so you can always track the meetings. You can track what's going on as far as proposals. There's little sections down at the bottom where you can see plans as they're evolving. So stay in touch with us that way. Okay, moving on. The Lincoln City Comprehensive Plan. That's the big one. That's the one where we look at the city and say, what do we want our city to look like for the next 10 years as we move forward? It's one of those tedious, horrible governmental jobs that has to be done. And I've said this from day one. Decisions are going to be made. Do you want it to be my decision or do you want it to be your decision? I can only bring my opinions to the table, my life experiences. I need yours. We need yours. The council needs to hear from you. What do you want your city to look like? And if all you care about is, I want the fire hydrant painted pink, that's fine. Give us that. If you have a bigger plan, I want dog parks, I want this, I want that, bring that to us, okay? Is it all going to happen? I can't guarantee that. Don't be mad. It'll be part of the process, okay? All right. Business in Lincoln City. I'm encouraged by the numbers I'm seeing from the VCB, or Visitors Convention Bureau. Tourism numbers are up significantly. We're in a really good position to handle crowds. We talked briefly about parking last night with the Urban Renewal Agency, and we seem to have a surplus of parking. We'll see. But we're also laying a good foundation for the amount of roads we're putting in and overlaying. We've put aside $400,000, I think that's the right amount, $400,000 to repair roads. That was the number one concern of most people in this town and of the city council as we move forward from last year to this year is get our roads right. So that's being done. We have so many great programs and opportunities to take care of our guests. Again, it comes down to how do we treat them when they come. And the chambers move forward with Love Your Lincoln. I don't know if you're still doing Love Your Lincoln.
A version of it, yeah.
A version of it, where we teach our staffs and to how to treat people and to be ambassadors for our city. And so I would say take advantage of that. Always be up to speed on what's going on with your chamber and your convention bureau, which I hope we get rid of that name, by the way. We haven't had a convention here in years, so I'm pushing for conference, but what do I know? One thing that I think most of you should be aware of is the RAIN program, the Regional Acceleration Innovation Network. Did I get that right? Yeah. This is a great program for entrepreneurs and what they call entrepreneurs. If you have an idea, kind of a Shark Tank kind of thing, where these people will help you walk from the beginning to production of a product. We've seen some success with some local products that are actually being sold in our culinary center, during the cook-offs and demonstration cookings. So we can have more information available to you if you like, but I'd say take advantage of that and point anyone, especially the kids. You know, that's always been on my heart is the opportunities that we have or don't have for our kids in the future. And it's always seemed to me to be an area that maybe isn't promoted enough, is the idea that we don't have a rail line, we don't have a shipyard, we don't have an airport, but we do have FedEx and UPS and USPS that moves in and out. We have an internet. And from that, we can create products and move them to the world. And you can take a kid and say, look, you don't need $50,000 a year, but maybe $500 a month would be a great income for you at 16 or 15. And get them started learning about the business process. And part of that can go through this RAIN program. And there's a lot of people out there who like to help. So this, I thought. Okay. You know, I guess I got to talk about the downside, since this is a business gathering. The minimum wage. We're due for that to go up again in July. It's going up another 50 cents. We are a service economy. Most of us are probably paying over minimum wage to begin with, but when that goes up, it means the other wages follow behind it. I'm going to just give a couple of stats, and I don't mean to beat this horse, but I want people to walk away with a full understanding of the impact when we move these things. And I don't speak of it from a moral issue. It's not a personal issue. It's a math issue for me. I'm sorry, I'm just going to read straight from the paper here. Minimum wage goes up 50 cents an hour in July, 50 cents again next year. If you have 10 employees working 40 hours, that's 400 hours a week. $200 a week times 4 is $800 a month times 52, $41,600 a year for a 50 cent increase. I own 4 stores. Okay? My cut is going to be $166,100. Now you add on top of that what was just passed with the sick leave mandate, where in Oregon you are required now to put aside up to 40 hours of sick leave, paid sick leave for an employee. Again, I'm not talking about this as a moral issue or anything else, I'm just talking math. These are the facts that have to be faced. So we take that same 10 employees times 48 hours, $3,900, and then $3,900 to have someone to cover that shift. Okay? So now at the end of the year, I'm looking at $197,600. And I only bring this up to say we need to make sure we face these facts. If we're prepared to pay more, then we need to be prepared to raise prices. And all of us need to absorb that. And what it means to, I just read a report this morning, Wendy's is rolling out 1,000 kiosks to their self-ordering for their stores. Well, in my mind, minimum wage is minimum wage. It's a training wage, and it should be for kids. And if we're going to have a minimum wage, then there needs to be a disparity. There needs to be a change so that I can bring in a 15-year-old, teach them some things, let them make their mistakes, and not have it cost us a fortune, but then I can pay that adult a higher wage. These minimum wages going up in one chunk take away, from me, the business owner, my ability to give raises, because it's been gobbled up. So everyone's got to start up here, and there's like this little bit left for the people who are achieving. So there's my soapbox stance on that. It's just something to be paying attention to on the horizon. Okay, moving on. Real estate. Thanks to my lovely wife, I've got some stats. Last year, 261 units sold. 230,623 was the average price. 102 days on the market for sold properties. The unsold properties is listed 352,227 days on the market. Average list versus average sold was 222,338. Our average time on the market is going up, and that's never a good thing. It could mean one of two things: we're not pricing it properly, or we're having less buyers, less interest, and lower inventory. So I just wanted to share that info with you. And I think, we do have to talk briefly about the eclipse. We had a comment last night from one of the counselors who doesn't seem to think, I don't mean anybody, so I'm just sharing the conversation with you, wasn't really comfortable with what was going on, didn't feel like we were hearing enough about it or prepared. I do want you to know that the city is taking this event very seriously, and I think all of you should too, especially business owners. This is how do I put this? I don't want this one on YouTube. This is a chance to really make some money. Okay? You are going to see crowds like you haven't seen. And so you can get a part of that by being prepared, by getting out there ahead of it and saying, hey, we're an eclipse place where you need information, you need glasses, you want your t-shirts, you want your drinks, you want somewhere to sit. I made a joke about when we get signs to put in our house windows to say, I'll let you use my toilet for $5. Yeah, when you gotta go, $5 seems pretty reasonable. Anyway, it's going to be an amazing opportunity for us, and we're talking about, numbers talking 50,000 people rolling in between Newport and here. Landfall, I believe, is the Fogarty Creek, 10:36 in the morning or something like that. Hopefully the fog hasn't rolled in at that point. I know, but it's one of those things we got to talk about. And how do we shift people to say, look, if you're planning to sit on the beach watching that at 10:30, and we're counting on fog all day, we need to be able to say there's another place to go and enjoy this. Make it a great experience for them. It's on a Monday too. Yeah. So I'm excited for that. It's going to be just a fun event, but we do need to stay in front of it. And I know the chamber's working on things and the like. So I'm going to kind of back out of here. There's a whole bunch of numbers I could give, and Ron has been so generous in providing me them, and I lost my place with them. I don't even think I wrote them down. Well, they're kind of important, but they're so small I can't read them. Okay, I just want to talk about building statistics. City population, we're at 8,485 full-time residents. Building statistics, the value of commercial construction is $5.1 million.
value of residential construction 13.9 for a total construction value of 19 million. That's it. I'm going to mess up. One thing I do want to say, before I bring up, I invited a guest to come speak, and that's Martha Watts from the Gathering, the Shiloh the Gathering. This city is so generous with its time and its money and its love. One of the things that I've just been impressed with from day one. But that only goes so far. When Hannah Connett started the Family Promise here, it took off once a building was identified. Once they said, we have this space, everyone gathered around. Sue Anderson and the Family Promise Board have done an amazing job of shepherding that from its conception. We're housing people. We're helping people. The idea of people living in bushes is just tremendous. I run into folks every day. When we're staying on out here in the trees, and I go down to Jonah's Whale, getting to this little thrift shop down in Newport. And this lady just opens the doors. She has coffee and food and clothes all day long. Anyone who shows up, she feeds them, takes care of them, and gets them something warm to wear. But I sit and listen to the people coming in there, and the stories are just heartbreaking. I'm so thrilled that we have Family Promise here and what Sue and the others are doing. Sue is still the president, right? Yeah, okay. Credit to somebody else, but she's doing it, so good job. In my mind, nothing starts without building. And I proposed that during the last budget hearing, that we need a building. Now, who's going to build that building, who's going to pay for it, I don't know. But when we start talking about homelessness, we need a place. So anyway, another person's kind of called that week. And Martha has come to our town with a heart for the homeless, with a heart for the hurting. And she opened at her own expense, just because the Lord was leading her to Shiloh the Gathering. If you haven't been there, please stop by. She's going to tell you a little bit more. Without further ado, Martha, you want to come up and share a little bit? And then after Martha's done, we're going to bring Ron Chandler up, and he's going to talk about VCB and show you the commercial in case you haven't seen it. With that, I'll just say God bless you all. God bless Lincoln City. Thank you very much.